Hi Toby.
Hi Yves.
Great to be back in Vienna, great to be able to travel again. We wanted to take the time here today to talk a bit about Cloud Director, NSX-T, and in that specific scenario also around T0, Tier 1 routing, gateways, etc. That's a term which shows up every time again. Can you explain that in potentially simple terms?
Yeah.
So for idiots like myself.
Hopefully in simple terms, yeah. It is quite an easy one. In the nature of NSX-T, we have the Edge Service Gateway, but they have gotten, on the one hand, they have gotten new names, and we have changed the whole routing perspective. So, what is the Tier 0 gateway, the Tier 0 router? The Tier 0 router is our peer for the physical world. So, this is the guy who is establishing the connection to our firewalls, for example, to the data center routers. And then on the other hand, from VCT perspective, we have the Tier 1 gateways, which are the customer or the tenant gateways. On the Tier 1 gateways, the tenant can utilize VPN services, firewall, load balancing, and so on, and can configure them for their need. And on Tier 0, only the service provider can do all of the configuration related for BGP, for example, and so on. There is also one mixed capability. So there is also the possibility to utilize all of the network services like NAT, like IPsec, and so on the Tier 0. But then this is fully managed by the service provider. This cannot be managed by the tenant itself.
Okay. So especially as it now moves more to the point that Tier 0 becomes the direct north-south gateway, can I have this, for example, for a larger tenant also specific for the tenant that they could actually manage their own BGP or anything like that?
For sure. There are two options now available. We can utilize the dedicated Tier 0, which means we need to have more than one Tier 0 gateways. Or we can use a new function from NSX-T, which is called VRF Lite. There will be a dedicated video available where we go deeper into the topic of VRF Lite. And then we can import the VRF Lite configuration for a specific tenant.
All of this sounds great. How do we engage on these things, especially now that service providers have to move from V to T? Some start fresh with T on the greenfield because they start to implement VCD for the first time. How do we usually engage, maybe in a few words, on these projects?
What we normally do is talk with the service provider, have a look what are their needs. Are we talking about the greenfield? Are we talking about the brownfield? Especially when we talk about brownfield, we need to have in mind there is an end of life for NSX-V already announced, and have a look what are the current services, what the service provider or the tenants are utilizing, and how we can migrate them to NSX-T. When we talk about greenfield, we have a look at the whole network environment. What are our peering points, what are routing protocols we would like to utilize, where we can bring in the whole NSX-T environment and how the network design should look like.
Great, sounds like a good idea. And then I think we will catch up again on the VRF Lite topic in a later video.
In a later video. Thank you, Yves.
Thank you.